here to announce that we have filed murder charges in the first degree against Pamela Hupp in the stabbing death of Betsy Faria. We will be seeking the death penalty in this case. After a complete and comprehensive review and investigation, I came to the conclusion that beyond a reasonable doubt, Pamela Hupp killed Betsy Faria, and I believe her motivation was simple: for greed.
Who would do this?
Well, they're holding Russ.
The truth will come out. I didn't do this.
Hey film lovers, today on Really or Cut It, we will be reviewing NBC's miniseries, The Thing About Pam, starring Renee Zellweger, currently streaming on NBC, Peacock, Hulu, Apple TV, and more. Guys, on this one, I'm gonna really try to not have low energy. Like, this story is so sad. And it pissed me off for so many reasons, and we'll get into that later. But right now, let me do my best to break down this synopsis. The Thing About Pam revolves around the case of Pam Hupp, who brutally murdered Betsy Faria in 2011 and framed Betsy's husband, Russ Faria, for it. Now, the murder of Betsy Faria and the devious, manipulative ways of Pam Hupp was so intriguing to people that, you know, when it was aired on Dateline, it was Dateline's like third highest most viewed episode. You know, there was a podcast made out of it, a book. I had no idea that this story was true, and I watched Dateline pretty often, but I mean, it was 2011. Who knows what I was doing in 2011, child? In the first episode, Pam Hupp, played by Renee Zellweger, is a real estate agent from Troy, Missouri. She is best friends with Betsy Faria, played by Katie Nixon, who currently has cancer and is undergoing treatment. Now, the series fast forwards to December 27, 2011, where we see holiday decorations outside of the home, and we hear Keith Morrison's voice narration.
It was December 27th, 2011. There'd be a fuss tonight. Troy was about to make headlines.
It then transitions to Betsy at her mother's home, and Pam calls Betsy, insisting that Betsy returns home. Meanwhile, Russ, Betsy's husband, spends the evening with his friends playing board games and drinking. Pam picks up Betsy. Together they head to Betsy's home. Pam drops Betsy off, and it cuts to Pam in front of the home making calls to both Betsy's husband and her mom, which we will find out later is used as an alibi. Then the series picks up speed when later that night, Russ comes home to walk in and see his wife, Betsy, dead on the floor. He makes a hysterical 911 call stating that his wife had just took her own life, and the police then arrive. Russ stops through the interrogation and doesn't even think to call a lawyer. There's no solid evidence on him, but Russ is indeed arrested for the crime. The next day, 2 sheriff deputies goes to Pam's home to ask her questions. She puts herself at the center of the story, making Betsy sicker and more dependent on her than she really was, and implies that Russ had fantasies about smothering his wife in her sleep because, of course, she stated that Betsy told her so. And the foolishness of Pam and her ridiculous stories continues on from there, which ultimately helped lead to the conviction of Russ, who will spend nearly 4 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. You know, before I get into the actual breakdown of what I think about the show overall, let me say this. You know, if Betsy was my mother, and God rest her soul, the show would have had me livid. The dark comedy of this series kind of made me feel like this has to be insulting to the family. There's nothing funny about your mom getting murdered. And I had never heard about this story, so once I got to researching, I found a news story with Betsy's youngest daughter. And she reacted exactly how I expected her to. Channel 5's KSDK News reported that Betsy Faria, daughter Mariah Day, said that she was not expecting the heavy styling, bright colors, and upbeat music seen in the preview of the series. They also reported that she stated she hopes it's not presented as a dramatic comedy inviting people to mock her mother's murder.
It just brings back all those feelings and all that trauma. We'll tend to forget about the victims that were involved because Pam Hupp's name is everywhere. But I hope they show light that my mom was more than her death story.
So I don't blame her daughter at all, right? And the fact that, although this is nothing against Renee Zellweger because she did an awesome job, you know, but in the fact that she had on this fat suit looking like a white Rasputia is unbelievable. And for you who do not know who Rasputia is, it is the Eddie Murphy character in the film Norbit. That fat suit was unnecessary, and I knew that they could have found someone to play this woman because this Pam lady, she looked like she was about a size 14 or 18, and I know they have a lot of Caucasian actresses with blonde hair. Hell, you could put a wig on somebody that looked like this woman, and it wouldn't have came off as comedic. I'm just not for it. And the narration to me was an overkill. You know, it gave the show, yes, it gave the show a Dateline vibe, but it just made it real comedic. And it made the way that Renee Zellweger was acting as the character and her slurping on the soda, it's just too funny for me. In the intro of the first episode, you see this cheesy commercial, right? It just was crass to me, but in a subtle way. I don't know. I'm just so, and this is why I'm torn, because I don't want anyone to think that I did not like the series. If this was not a true story, this series would have been awesome because the acting, every actor in this particular series was great. The acting was great. You know, the timing of everything was great. The series kept you interested, but the comedic vibe to it just like ran me hot. You know, there are other things like how dumb they made the officers look. And listen, the officers were very dumb. And you know, because I literally was yelling at the screen like, how in the hell do you believe this? You're not even second guessing what this woman is telling you. So I had to go look at Pam's actual interviews to see if this character was this believable and what her energy was to make these officers just not even research her, knowing that she was the very last person to see Betsy alive.
Betsy thought she didn't have anything else in the world. She would want me to have whatever she had. In her view, I was rich. In her eyes, she'd always tell me I was rich. She thought I was rich. She wished she was rich like me. I wasn't rich.
Because this is a mini-series, I do not think it's going to be a season 2. So what we're going to do, we're going to rate it with stars. I'm going to give it 3 stars. And the reason why is because, number 1, that damn Rasputia fat suit. Why would y'all do that? Why would y'all do that? Renee Zellweger had gained weight to play Bridget Jones, the Bridget Jones Diary. And then the second is because it became a comedy, because it was like a dark comedy. And I think that's insulting to the family, you know. And I typically don't like to give bad reviews or anything, but like this pissed me off, man. More so than it broke my heart, because it's like, how insensitive are we in America now that somebody's family member could pass away in such a gruesome way, and we make a comedy out of it. And honestly, writers and directors at NBC, I have your names on here somewhere. I don't know if you guys did that intentionally, but that was wrong, man. However, if you want to watch it, you should, because it's good. It is good. I'm just giving it 3 stars because of the tone and everything associated. But that's all I have for you guys today. So go check out The Thing About Pam. Until next time.